This Dodge hood's ready to go, but the Dodge Scat Pack is not. Howdy everybody, Chris here. We're back in the garage today. Today we're going to be fixing some paint mistakes. We're repainting the quarter panel and the fender on this Dodge Scat Pack. Basically what we had here is I was painting this quarter panel, painting this roof, painting this quarter panel. The top of my cup on my gun hit right here, and you can see that line right there. It actually took out some color. I was actually spraying clear at the time, so when I bumped it, it actually took some color off. So what I needed to do is I let that clear set up just a little bit, and then I blew a little color on it. And what you really need to do is let that color really dry and that clear really dry before you put a clear coat over top of it. I didn't have time to do that, so what it did is create a little bit of a reaction in that base coat, and it created some metallic dots that don't look uniform, so we need to respray this today. I've done this before, and sometimes you can get away with it, sometimes you can't. In this situation, it just did not work out. It's a distortion in the color, and this car is too nice to let that go. So we went ahead and sanded this quarter panel back down with 600. We're going to get this taped up today. I'm going to share with you exactly how to tape these panels up. So I'm going to give you some tips on taping, but we're going to fix this. So basically all we have to do is blow a little color on here and then re-clear this quarter panel. The other thing we had, and I can show you a video of this and you can still kind of see it, but when we put our base on, we had some dark spots in our paint. It was a little bit of like a reaction. I'm not exactly sure what it is. It could have been something that was still on the surface of the paint, because we sanded this with 600 and this was just a blend panel. So we cleared this with the idea that we're going to have to come through and blow a little color on those. Once we have it cleared and sealed like we do, now we can blow a little color on there and re-clear it, and that'll go away. So the roof, we did paint the roof on this and this quarter panel. Those are fine. We got to do a little bit of cut and buff on that. This thing was hit hard with hail, so we're replacing the hood. Had a PDR guy push the roof, but then we had to do some repairs on it, so we repainted the roof, and then there was some damaged paint on the quarter panel here that we fixed. So we did cut and buff this, and the hood came out really nice. I need to get this done before noon, so let's get to masking this. I'll share with you my tips and tricks on masking, and then I'll share with you how we apply our base and our clear coat to this. First thing I like to do is I like to open up the doors, all the masking inside the door edges first, so we can shut the doors and be done with it. We don't have to keep reopening the doors and messing with our masking. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to line this edge of the door with some 2-inch masking tape. I just tape off the edge of this door, I fold it over, so when I shut it, it's going to land nice and neatly on my foam tape. And we're going to lay a piece of foam tape in this door gap right there. We're going to put foam tape in here as well. There's a molding that goes here. We do have to paint some moldings that go in here. We're going to tape off the roof. There is a seam here that we're going to line right there. Around here, we're just going to tape on this window urethane here. Appreciate all the support for the channel. If you really want to help support the channel, really all you have to do is like the videos and comment. But if you also want to pick up a t-shirt, I have these t-shirts available at garagenoisegear.com. You can pick one of those up. Put a piece of tape on the edge of this, and we'll just fold it over. Also put some foam in the trunk area here. And we're going to cover the rest of this car with plastic. So there will be another video on this, maybe two, because this is some older footage and it was kind of all broken up, so I kind of compiled it. But I thought it was important to show you how mistakes happen and how you can correct them. So this is a good opportunity just to show you how we corrected those mistakes. Now there's a lot to paint on this car, so I broke it down into the upper surfaces and then the quarter panels and fenders. Of course, we had to redo this quarter panel and fender, so basically I had 3 paint sessions on this vehicle. Honestly, I would rather do it that way. It's just a lot easier. For the most part, I'm not really concerned about time frame. I'm concerned about getting the best quality job and making it easy. Listen, if you've watched one or more of my videos, found it interesting or helpful, definitely subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers and I need your help, so smash that subscribe button for me. Masking the fender to the door on this vehicle is pretty easy. I opened up the door and then I was able to back tape this edge of that fender and then just shut the door. I just secured that tape down to the door. I like to double tape these edges here because I'm going to bring a razor blade down through here and I'm going to cut out the plastic. I want to make sure I'm not going to break through this tape and scratch the paint with my razor blade. So I always like to double and sometimes triple tape those edges. It just gives me peace of mind that I'm not going to cut through with that razor blade. Here we just taped off that liner in there. Now that liner's all loose, so we were able to tuck tape in between the liner and the fender. And then I just built this kind of flap here so we can tape the plastic down and I can still spray this edge. So we got all this sanded well. Any little shiny areas I want to go over with a gray scuff pad. So I'm going to do a final scuff on any of the shiny areas. We'll wipe this down, we'll tack rag it off, and we'll be ready to spray our color. I will double tape this door edge here. Try not to run the razor blade on the vehicle, but sometimes you have to. We're ready to lay plastic on this Scat Pack. Let's do it. If you're masking up a vehicle like this, I would recommend that you just get some automotive masking plastic. This is plastic that's treated on one side of the plastic. If the paint gets on it and dries, it's not going to flake off into your clear coat. And it just makes it simple to cover a car. Get it masked down tight so you don't get any overspray on the rest of your vehicle. Here I'm just trimming out the plastic on the fender. You do want to pull the plastic down as tight as you can so you don't get any overspray underneath that plastic. Now I'm going to wipe it down with some 70% isopropyl alcohol. Don't worry, I've left all the links to all these products that I use down in the description. So if you click on more, you can check out all the links in the description. Now it is at like 105 degrees today. This was painted in summer. So one thing I do want to mention is if you're sweating, definitely should wear gloves. I'm not wearing gloves here, but if you get any moisture or sweat on that panel, that can fish out your paint. So make sure if you sweat on a panel or you touch it, then you get that wiped down really good so you don't get any fish eyes. Next step is to apply the paint and mix up the paint. The paint that we're using today is the Nason XL. Basically, we just need to reduce it. I get it pre-mixed in at O'Reilly's. The paint reduces 2 to 1, so 2 parts paint, 1 part reducer. We'll reduce that and we'll be ready to spray. Okay, so we're using the Porphis PRD 627. We've got a few little spots right here, blotchy spots. We're just going to dust a little bit of color right there. That's all we need on this panel, and then we'll clear this. Probably going to do 2 coats. Don't want to put it on super heavy or wet. I don't need a lot of air pressure either. That's it. Now we'll let that flash off and we'll put 1 more dust coat on it. We got those spots right here. We're just dusting in. That should be good on that fender. 1 more coat on this and we'll be ready for clear coat. Ready. As far as our gun settings, I'm going to spray this gun wide open. So you see I'm turning this upside down and I'm opening it up all the way. I'll turn that fluid volume in until I feel pressure on the trigger. That means it's opened all the way. I don't usually spray with the fluid volume wide open, but in this situation, it's really hot. I want to get some material on there. I want to get it to flow out. Now, as far as the air pressure, this particular gun, I run it at right around 25 PSI for clear coat. I'm going to have the fan pattern wide open. This has an extremely large fan and it actually sprays really well at wide open. This gun is the Porphis PRD 627. I've done a couple review videos on this gun. I really like it, but we'll talk a little bit more about this gun later on in this video. Now, as far as the clear that we're using the Sherwin-Williams FC710, which is a spot panel clear. Is going to work perfect for this application. It's a high solid clear that mixes up 4 to 1. That's 4 parts clear and then 1 part activator. You can reduce it a little bit if you would like, and that would help it flow out just a little bit better. Typically, I don't like to reduce my clears. Now, as far as the spraying techniques, you want to have a consistent speed in a consistent distance. I'm spraying about 4 to 5 inches away. You want to overlap your passes about 70 to 80%, somewhere around there. This information I'm giving you on spraying technique is designed to give you a guide and a reference point to start. Remember, you are going to develop your own style and your own techniques as you gain more experience painting. So don't be afraid to adjust it. These are not set in stone. Adjust it according to how you like to spray and what's giving you the best results. When I'm spraying my first coat, I'm evaluating how that clears laying on the panel and what kind of finish I'm getting. If I need to slow down or speed up, I'll adjust my speed as I spray to get the effect that I'm looking for. I'm not looking for perfection on the first coat because we are putting a second coat on. Pay close attention. I'm going to zoom in here and you're going to see a little cluster of fish eyes there. That is a contamination that's on the surface that caused those little fish eyes. Now I'm going to share with you how to correct that here in a minute. That can create a problem that's not going to be easily corrected, but in this case what we're going to do is we're going to let this cure, dry, and we're going to put a couple additional coats on that to bury those fish eyes, and then we'll be able to wet sand it out when we're done. Look at the spray pattern on this Porphis PRD 627 though. Look at that nice fan pattern. I really love this gun. I think out of all the Porphis guns that I've sprayed with, and I think I've sprayed with them all at this point, right now this is my favorite gun. And this is not the most expensive gun in their lineup. I can't remember if this one is a split tip or not, but it's the Porphis PRD 627. Really nice gun, and it's so easy to use and it sprays great. I think the cost on it is about $220 if I'm not mistaken. You can check it out. I'll leave a link down in the description if you're interested in this gun. Really nice, high quality gun. I feel like this particular Porphis guns just suits my spraying technique a little bit better than the other ones. And I like the other Porphis guns. They spray great, but this one just seems a little bit more effortless. Just lends itself to how I spray, and it makes it really easy. And you're going to find that to be true as you start trying different type of guns. Some guns you're going to like better than others. And a good example of that is a lot of people love Sada spray guns. I don't particularly care for those. I'm more of an atomization guy. I like better atomization and not so much volume. So I prefer an Iwata over a Sada. So this gun is kind of like a mid-tier gun at $220. But if you're just starting out, I would recommend that you start out with a budget-friendly gun. I've got some great budget-friendly gun reviews on this channel. One is the Intercraft Drizzle D1. There's a YT160. The original R500 is a great low volume, low pressure gun, perfect for DIYers or hobbyists. Also, Astro has great guns and they're reasonably priced. All these guns are around $100 and you can check them out on my channel. There's a playlist that has paint gun reviews in it. Check that out if you're looking for a starter paint gun. Okay, now we're putting the second coat on this quarter panel. Now, after the first coat, you want to let that clear flash. What you're doing is you're letting those chemicals start to evaporate out of that surface, so you don't trap any solvents in that first coat, because that can cause solvent pops, which is a bunch of tiny little dots in your clear coat. So let it flash off for 15 minutes. Depending on the temperature, you can check your technical data sheet to give you the exact times for temperatures. You also don't want to wait too long before you put the second coat on, because that can cause dieback. Which dieback is when you lose a little gloss after you've painted it and it sits for a little bit. You're going to lose a little gloss. It's going to look a little bit dull. Now that can be corrected with color sanding and polishing. So you want to be aware of those things because you want the best looking clear coat possible. I'll look this over real good, make sure there's no dry areas that we need to correct, and then we'll put one more coat of clear on this fender, and we'll be done with clear coat. Remember, repainting your vehicle's not that difficult. I know I give you a lot of information here, try to make it seem super complicated, but the main thing is to follow these techniques, get in the garage, practice, and just develop your skill. It's all about a series of procedures and processes. Put those into practice and you can get a beautiful looking finish on your repair or restoration project. We finally got this basting cleared. Let's go ahead and take a look at the finished product. First, let's look at this spot here. Now, this is where we had a few little fish eyes pop up. There was some contaminants on there, probably some oils. I put an extra coat of clear on there, and that will wet sand and buff out. Overall, the finish came out nice and slick. The peel is perfect. We've got a few little particles of dust that will cut and buff, but overall, this paint job came out beautifully. And if you look at the spot here where we had some discoloration in the metallics, we got that all corrected. It blended out nicely. Let's take a look at the fender. Same finish, same peel, and about the same amount of particles of dust. So we'll do a light cut and buff on this, and this will be ready to go. I hope you enjoyed this video, found this information helpful. If you did, definitely consider subscribing to the channel and leave me a comment down below. All that helps the channel grow. And if you want to check out some more videos on how to repair and restore your vehicle, check out the rest of the channel. A lot of good information in there. Appreciate each and every one of you watching. We'll see you next time on Garage Noise.